I saw the Chappelle special. I know you've been saying, got to check it out. It was very tight, actually. I loved it right to the end. So good. But I know something about people in the game, in the feminist game or in the activism game. When you rip them that hard, even if your arguments are right, they're just so mad after it. They're just too mad. They're even more mad now. They're pissed.
Did you see the people in the front row of the special? The girls in the front row who are just like the whole time like. It's the entire show. It's just there were two women in like the front row. They go. You could see them the entire show, and they were getting madder as it goes. Like at first they were like cracking up a little bit, and then by the end of it you go, oh, they're gonna write a blog. Oh yeah. Yeah,
no, they're there front row to get offended. Maybe
they're like, oh yeah, really, really. We'll see how. We'll see what the New York Times thinks about
this. Just every good rip he does, they just look at each other like, we're gonna put that in the article. It's going in the article. That's going in the article. Oh, that's definitely going in the article.
Funny? You know what's actually, and look, this might not be a popular opinion. I actually think Chappelle will do more to bring empathy with the common man, like the common person out there, the average person. I think he'll do more to normalize that kind of stuff than the people who are like in the activism game are going to in the next 5 years. I think that one special, the message ultimately being about, say what you want about his whole thing. The message ultimately is about empathy. Eventually it's about him who was kind of didn't get it. Eventually coming to terms once he had a friend, once he empathized and saw from their perspective. I mean, I really thought the message was actually quite positive. And that's what was so shocking.
So positive.
It was so shocking that like, I honestly thought, oh, yeah, it was a little edgy, but like he's not going to get in any trouble for this, which is why when I saw the response, I was shocked. I was like, I think he's on your team. Like, I think I think you guys are fighting. I don't know. Maybe people disagree. I get it.
No, he hit some nerves pretty hard. Like the one where he puts it as like, hey, it's black people, like like you white feminists didn't really do shit. And I was on the bus and black people were that. What his angle turnaround, I thought was like, I always thought I had that get out of jail free card too. Like if someone said some shit to me, I'd be like, I'm suffering from colonial legacy, brother. Back it up. You know what I mean? I always thought I could do something like that. Right. But he did that, and they said, still you're canceled. But he's not canceled. He's like fine. He's good.
No. He's not canceled. But it was funny to see, like the showrunner you saw the showrunner for Dear White People.
Yeah, so like how embarrassing when you're like, well, then I quit. And then it's a week
Dear
now,
White People, we got to cancel Dave Chappelle.
Sorry, canceling him, and nobody cares. Netflix doesn't care.
Oh, gosh. Well,
that is rough.
I did it was interesting to see the response because there was half the people were trying to like cold cancel him. And then half the people were saying, nobody's trying to cancel Dave Chappelle. Like, we just think he's not funny. And then it's like, wait, no. Half of you guys are. Half of the people are trying to cancel Dave Chappelle. The other half, no, he's not cancelable. So they're just saying like, oh, he's not funny. Because that's the next thing, obviously. That's like on the tiers of how you cancel somebody, it's like either A, you're canceled, you can't do that. Or B, oh, it's just not funny. I just wasn't laughing.
It almost seems like that just not funny is like they're trying to throw an insult at him. And it's like, it's almost like you're not getting the story straight here. Are you offended or is it not funny? It's like, what are you mad about? Are you offended or is it just like, or are you just throwing in like an insult? Like it's like when someone tells you that they don't like you and you go, oh yeah, I just realized you're ugly. And it's like, no, you know what I mean? Like someone's like, hey, I don't think we should be friends. You go, oh yeah, your mom's a whore. I just realized that right when you said that. It's like that kind of thing. Or it's like, I'm offended. Oh, and now I just realized it's not even funny. I think it's funny though. Everyone loves it. That's weird.
What the heck? Rotten Tomatoes? Sorry, this is what I wanted to show you. 43% of the critics.
What is that? 7%? 7 people only.
43% said good. 95% of the audience said, hey, we like this.
What? Like, just live in reality. Why are we? Yeah, it's so weird. And there's so many, it's actually really, I don't want to be rude to the trans community, but it is weird when.
Oh boy.
It is weird when like Blair Powers,
slowly back out of the room.
Trans people have to come out with a message saying like, no, I'm with him. No, I agree with him. And then he even has a story of someone in the thing. So like, if I don't agree with him, now I'm disagreeing with these other trans people. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know which side to take now because there are isn't it? Don't you find that there's just so many trans people out? Like Blair Powers just has a pro Chappelle video.
Who are you talking about?
You know Blair Powers? She's a famous YouTuber.
Blair Powers.
She's a trans person, famous YouTuber.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Got the boobs done. Post-op on the boobs at least.
Don't know who you're
I'm just saying it shows commitment. She's committed. She's in the game.
Don't know
of
who
trans.
you're talking. Don't know who you're talking about.
And she's coming out with like I'm with Chappelle. Blair White. Sorry, Blair White is her name. Let me.
I don't know. Don't really know too much about.
Famous YouTuber, but I'm just saying, like, probably has.
Okay. My only point was, it seems like we've got so many problems in the world. We've got COVID. I actually sometimes, because I've got the jab, I just kind of like COVID's over, right? So it's actually not, though. If you look at the numbers, you look at the actual economic impact, dude, we're about to come into the wave of like, oh, actually COVID did screw up our economy. Oh, actually, like, we do have big problems.
The suffering is coming.
It's just amazing to me that like people are mad about like Dave Chappelle. I'm just like, oh gosh. Oh, it's just,
I know, dude. And
they
did a workers
lasted so long, and it's just
so
kind
long,
of.
Dude.
I don't know.
And when you do a workers walkout, and there's actually a real workers walkout happening in America. The Kellogg's workers are striking. A bunch of, I think, coal workers are striking. Like there are historic strikes happening in America right now. I know you don't care, Mr. Capitalist, but there are historic strikes happening in America right now. Beautiful strikes. People are fighting their bosses. Dude, sometimes these miners, the owner of the mine, he like hit a guy with his car, like a striker. Like it's ugly, dude. Yeah, he just like ran into his leg. I know it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's nobody cares. The Democrats don't care. Nobody cares. We're getting more attention on this Netflix walkout. It is so privileged.
I know.
The showrunner of like Dear White People, who's supposed to be like, hey, let's focus on real problems, not your white people problems.
No, it's just crazy. I do just wonder, do people who have real problems with the special, obviously some of them have watched the full special, but what percentage of those people did watch the full special? Because even at the end, he's like, I'm done making jokes until we all decide we're laughing together, instead of like, it was like a positive message.
So positive. And he really cares, like Kurt Metzger too. Like his thing is, you hear the special and you hear some of these bits and I'm like, this guy's putting his heart out and he's really upset about this. Like he's really upset that like someone said I was transphobic. Well, I'm going to write a bit about that. I'm not. Like, he is offended in a way. You know what I mean? To make so much of the special about that, and for like 4 or 5 specials now too.
And like I said, if you're actually a person who's worried about moving the needle, I think if you're on like the left, I think Dave Chappelle's special, ironically, does more to capture the people on the right who you're trying to convince than actually you are. Yeah. I know that sounds to some people who like already have like those the very left-leaning views. I think that might sound crazy, but I think it's true. I think it's ultimately true that joking about it, I think normal. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I just didn't find any of his joke. Okay. You know what he did that was offensive though? Is that his rips are too tight. Like when he was doing all of the feminism stuff and he's saying, you guys aren't real feminine, like real feminists are not supporting this and stuff like that. His research and his rips are so tight. And I've done this myself. And I remember Kurt Metzger did this too, where if you come at your rip so tight, like I remember I was talking to a girl once and we were just debating something. And then I said something about Rebecca Walker. Now, Rebecca Walker wrote the book on third wave feminism, right? So I'm talking to this girl who's like getting mad at me for not being like woke enough, right? And I'm like, well, do you know what Rebecca Walker said? And she goes, hey, I don't care what some white woman said. And I was like, hey, Rebecca Walker's black. Come on, you should know this, right? Like this is like, she wasn't happy about it. But there was no like, okay, you got me. I never got like, okay, you win. No. It was like, oh yeah, now fuck you even more. I hate you. Like, we're not friends. Dude, in this Kurt Metzger years ago does this, 5 years ago, same thing. He got canceled because he actually was too emotional and too caring about shit. And then he did a rip on some Me Too shit. Then some feminists debated him. And then he just ripped them too hard. The rips were too tight. And they said, you know what? Then you're canceled. And that's it, dude. They just canceled his ass. And like, that's what people get too offended, man. When you rip them that hard and you have their points proper, like when he's mentioning the other black women who are feminists, who he does follow, and how much he respects them and how much he respects what they did. And he says, I am a feminist because I know the real history, whatever. I think that's beautiful, man. I mean, that's great stuff. And most left-leaning people should support that, I think. Here's
the thing. I mean, people always like, I think some people see it as like, okay, you can't make jokes about this or anything like that. But I think if you look in the 90s, there was the people with the sacred cows, I mean, who were being attacked for like by people like George Carlin and stuff like that, was the like kind of pearl clutching people who are like, oh, you can't say that dirty word or whatever. And it's just kind of weird. The people on the left were the ones being like, no, we can say anything. Like everything's basically fair game, right? And then now it's just totally flipped. It's just a weird topsy-turvy world where the people like I don't know if you want to say pearl clutching the most are weirdly enough on the left. It's a weird thing, man. It is weird time to be alive.
And the right-wing people, they seem to like look at Trump like with 3 wives and stuff.
No, they
no Christian values.
Well,
did they care about Christian values with him? Like he's like divorced.
That was weird. That was weird. Yeah. But no,
they just let it all pass. You know?
I think everybody. I think every like team has their thing. Like I think just every team is just like, okay, no. That's you can't joke about that. Like,
they have their pearls to clutch. Everyone's got some of their own pearls or their own sacred cow.
Exactly.
And we just don't see it. It's weird. It's like people talk about like your ego. It hides things with your shadow, and then you don't see it in the real world. So it's like one side. It's like these two groups are polarized as human beings. On one side, they're hiding one thing, and they're seeing one world, and then the other side's hiding the exact opposite thing, and they're seeing the other world, and then they're like just always fighting. Because when you bring that up, and this is what happens with Chappelle too. When you bring that up with people that like, hey, you're pearl clutching, people don't say, yeah, you're right. Like, why am I being so upset about this? Maybe I should just think about it, talk about it, whatever. They just kind of go, oh, pearl clutching? So you want the children to die? Like they're into their shit. So you can't even convince them. It's too bad. They're just polarized, I guess. I'm a scammer. Gonna rip you off, take you down.